Welcome to The Counteroffer with Jenny Kim and Meredith Alderson.
We're two top producing agents in Austin who are going to be talking about lifestyle, business, and what really happens behind the deals.
The Counteroffer with Meredith, Alderson, and Jenny Kim.
Welcome back to The Counteroffer with Jenny Kim and Meredith Alderson.
Ooh, so happy
Jenny,
to be back.
spring. Woo!
It's here. I feel like it came and then actually left. It's been a whirlwind, but
It is crazy
all
right
good
now,
things,
everything.
yeah.
This time of year is so hard because, it's fun. The market's really picked up, but like all the kid stuff too. And then
planning for the summer.
planning. Yeah.
It's been crazy. We just got off the heels of the Austin Business Journal Awards where Meredith was made top 20. Super exciting.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank
yeah.
you.
I know we were both there.
we
We
didn't
didn't get to say hi. I know. I was at the table next to you and I was like trying to catch your eye. But I love going to the ABJ Awards every year because I feel like realtors are always talking, emailing, on calls, but never actually meet each other.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I was sitting next to an agent that I've talked to at least 20 times, and it was so great to actually
And
see
you
them in
never met
person.
them before?
We had met once 3 years ago. And then
But
it's like,
you're
then we
right,
never
it
saw
is
each
so
other.
great. It's like the biggest event in our industry in Austin,
Yeah.
and it is so fun to network. In fact, I wish we had more time before and after. To
I
talk to
know.
people
It is
because
kind of
you're
a short
rushed. Yeah.
short event, but it was super exciting. I mean, Meredith, what were you? Number 16.
Yeah.
Top
Yeah.
20, y'all. That's
Yeah.
huge.
I had an awesome year, and I was so glad to be there to celebrate the other agents who were awarded.
Yeah.
Like everybody that was recognized. We
I
all
know.
worked so hard, and so I love that event for that reason.
Also, there was quite a few newcomers. I feel like a lot of times the
Yes.
top 20 is a lot of the big top 20 players and it's kind of the same group, but it was exciting to see some new faces up there.
I agree. So many people that hadn't applied before or are just making it big from the beginning.
Yeah.
It was so fun to celebrate some of them.
It was a great event. I think both of us were out of town.
We were. Tell me about
Yeah.
yours.
My family and I went to Durango, Colorado, one of our favorite places ever. And it was basically summer up there. We had packed all of our ski clothes, got on the slopes for half a day, and it was literally slush.
I heard it was 70s in Colorado, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think one day it got almost up to 80. So we basically pivoted and made it a summer trip in Colorado. So it was still lovely. We did a lot of hiking, relaxing, and the weather was perfect if you weren't planning on skiing. So that was
I
nice.
hope you really got a break.
It was
Did you
good.
end up working a lot?
Actually, no. And I
Okay,
think
great.
Durango is one of the few places that I will go and actually unplug. I think because also the internet's not as strong up there, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit unreliable. But yeah, we got a good week break, went with a family friend of ours and spent a lot of it outside.
Oh, that is so perfect. So I went with 200 people to Mexico. On
Oh my
summer
God,
break.
different vibe.
Very different vibe because you were with your little kids,
Yeah.
right? It was so much fun though. Part of the busyness of this time of year for me is I do have a senior again. And senior year, the activities start so early.
I believe it.
Like February, and you roll all the way through to graduation, and it is a wild ride, but I would not
What a
trade
fun
it for
time.
anything.
But I
Yeah.
love that they're including parents. It's not just about the seniors because this is a big
I don't
moment
think that's
for you
really
guys, too.
optional. If you're going to go or send 18-year-olds to Mexico,
Yeah.
pretty much they all need a shot.
They better come with a parent. You.
Okay, speaking of kids, my son decided where he's going to college. He has committed to Tennessee.
Oh my gosh.
Go Vols. I'm still figuring out all the lingo.
Yay. Wait, what is it? Go who?
Vols, Volunteers.
Vols.
Tennessee Volunteers.
Interesting. That's their mascot.
Yeah.
Okay, go
Yeah.
Vols.
I got to figure out what that is.
Yeah. Fill me in when you do.
This is so random. So last week he was still deciding, and
What were the options?
it was a long list, to be
Okay.
honest. Yeah, we won't get into the details. I don't want anyone to be disappointed. So last week I was launching a new private listing, and I had so much activity that I was like, hey, I'm just going to hold it open from 9 to 11. Come if you can. The first people that walk in the door, the guy has a Tennessee hat
Ooh,
on. And I was like,
okay.
oh, Tennessee, because I really know nothing about Tennessee. Even though I grew up in Kentucky, I don't really have that connection to that state, but I'm excited to get to know it.
Yeah.
So I asked him, I'm like, oh, are you a Tennessee fan? And he's like, absolutely. I'm the head of the Alumni Association here in Austin. And I was like, what a random
Whoa,
encounter, right? I
yeah.
was like, my son is going this weekend. This was last week, and going to commit this week. And he told me all about it, got me connected, has already invited me to my first event. has introduced me to moms who have kids there from Austin. So I already feel like this tight
There's a little community here.
for
That's so
sure.
exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, one
So
thing
small
off your
world.
big checklist.
One thing.
Yeah. How did your private listing go?
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we put it on the private MLS, which we've been talking about in
Yeah,
previous
Flex.
podcasts, a flex listing. And we got so many inquiries that I had to consolidate all the showings into a small period of time. And we got an
Wow.
offer immediately
So off market.
off
Done,
market.
done and
Yeah,
done. That's
yeah.
exciting.
We're under contract now, obviously, like
Yeah.
in the option period, but yeah, my clients could not have asked for a better scenario.
Yeah, I'm curious how those conversations are going because, I've had off-market offers and sometimes my sellers are like, wait, like should we have gone to market? Like, what if we would have gotten more or, had more exposure? How did that conversation go with your
Well,
seller?
I think that's a really natural reaction for sellers to think like, oh, well, maybe I could get more if I went to the public market. But I think you really have to look at the market conditions,
Yeah.
and multiple offers are not common right now. Like, I'm not saying we're not seeing them at all, but it's certainly not the norm.
Right.
And so what I tell my sellers, even before we get offers, is like, listen, if you get an offer and it checks all the boxes on the terms that the best you could hope for, you need to take that offer. Because as you and I know, your first offer is usually your best offer.
Yep.
And if you turn it down and you wait, I think there is this sense, I'm not saying sellers get greedy, but you do get in this, it becomes a little bit of a game of like, could I get more? Could I get better terms? And you kind of have to take advantage of the offer you have on the table.
I agree.
So
it just gets really cloudy when they start entertaining like what if or what could.
Well, that's why I have the conversation early.
Yeah, I think
right?
that's smart.
It's like if you have to have it after you've received the offer, it's going to be really hard to convince your seller that this is best case scenario for
and you're
them.
backpedaling for sure.
Yeah. But my clients, again, I had this situation before. We did not have to do make ready. We did not have to spend the money fixing up little things.
And having people come through their house.
Yeah. They work from home. They have a child and a dog. And we know it's hard to get out, right?
Yeah, and just continuously cleaning your house.
Yeah, yeah. And you're giving buyers who are aware because they have agents who are looking at these private listings, you're giving buyers an early opportunity. And I feel like buyers who have that opportunity are willing to pay a bit more because they know that they're not competing with the general public.
And they're just serious. Like they're ready to ready to make offers and make it a smooth transition, hopefully.
I think the thing is like flex listings are available to everyone, right? And so everyone has access to this. If you're working with an agent or you've got yourself set up on a search, through the MLS with your agent, you have access to these private listings. And so I think like for me, I'm looking at these private listings every day for my buyers as well. Just to see
it's the first place I go.
up. Yeah.
And I have buyers also sending me those same private listings. This popped in my inbox.
Yeah.
They don't even know that it's a flex, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, the exposure is there for flex, compared to some of the other off-market channels.
It's so positive. Did you see the stats that were sent out last week about how flex listings are selling not only faster, but for more money?
I did
These
not
are
see
stats
that.
directly from Austin Board of Realtors.
Wow,
Looking at the data in the MLS.
I believe it because I think there is that sense of, exclusivity.
It's special.
I need to get into it
Yeah.
and I will, pay what they're asking.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exciting.
Jenny, what are some exciting things happening in your business right now?
It's been busy. I'm super grateful. I just had a listing appointment this morning and I have 2 closings this week. So my listings are moving, which is exciting in a down market. And what I'm noticing is a lot of my developers are very aggressively looking for deals and wanting to buy distressed properties or land. I think we kind of hit like a pause, over the last year. But I'm really seeing builders getting excited about acquiring land. So, I think that tells me 2 things. One is they're getting a lot more confident in the market. And 2, they're realizing, okay, the market is improving. I better start filling up my pipeline.
Yeah, for sure. I read an article a couple weeks ago. I can't remember the source, but it was saying that Austin is almost back to a buy rating. And so we're going to start to see investors coming back into the market. So I think that's good. evidence of that builders are trying to get ahead of the investors coming back in. People who are here, who are already developing and knowing that there's opportunity now, but that window's closing.
Yes. Buy in the low, sell in the high. That's always the name of the game. And builders are definitely active right now looking for opportunities. So I'm excited. I think that means, 9 to 12 months from now, like we should see a really nice, healthy inventory, and especially in the new build space.
Exciting.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the power of saying no, which I feel is like so loaded.
The hardest word to say.
I feel personally attacked even just saying those words out loud, because I struggle with this a lot, not just professionally, but even personally.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people do. It's hard to say no, especially in an industry like ours where, you eat what you hunt. So I mean, Meredith, you've been in this industry a lot longer than I have, and I have honestly recently just started saying no. But I'd love to hear kind of your perspective, and when did you first say no, and what did that look like?
I think personally, I think it takes you many, many years of experience to get to a point where you're comfortable saying no. And I honestly just think that comes with age and maturity, right? I think for me, I don't think I got really comfortable saying no until my mid to late 40s.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it was
that makes me feel better.
you are constantly being asked in every avenue of your life, from like school to volunteer to work to your kids to your family to whatever. There's like all these different channels that people are asking of you. And your intentions might be good. You want to say yes. But what I find is you end up spreading yourself so thin that you're like not really great at anything. And you end up disappointing everyone because you're not great at anything, right? So I think it wasn't really until my mid 40s where I was just like, not that I don't care anymore, but I could just only do so much.
Right.
And so I realized the things that brought me joy and the things that I wanted to say yes to, and I really try to lean into those. It's not perfect by any means. I still end up signing up for things I definitely don't want to do because I don't want to say no, but I'm so much better at it now.
Yeah.
And I realized like my time is so limited and valuable that I have to really think about where I'm spending my time, right?
Yeah.
Like if someone's asking me for time, I have to kind of put a dollar value to it. I know that sounds terrible, but I do.
So
it's not
interesting.
really like for my family, that's
Right.
that's different. But like outside of that, I have to think about it. Like, is it worth my time to go do that thing, or could I donate money instead? So that's just like one example. But yeah, it is like it's hard to say no.
You said something that really struck me, because you're like, what I say no to also dictates like what I can say yes to, right? So when my perspective kind of changed, and I think I just learned, I just experienced this through my first no, was how much saying no opened me up for like way more yeses.
Yes.
And like intentional yeses.
Yes.
And being able to like make that discernment, right? Of like, okay, if I say no to this, like how many more things can I say yes to that I actually want to do, or that I want to put my energy and time into? And so like, I think that was like the switch for me, of not just looking at it as no's, but like, okay, now that I've said no to this, like what can I say yes to?
I love the way that you are spending that, because I do think about that. Like if I say no to something, or I will mentor agents like this too. Like if you say no to that, if you say yes to everything, you're never available for like the thing you might actually be wanting, right? So you have to say no to some things to be available.
Right.
But I love how you're saying like you say no to actually be able to say yes.
Yeah.
It's like you get to say yes to things instead of always being forced to say
I
yes.
know. I get it. Like especially in our industry, every no means possibly lost income, right? Or possibly lost future referrals or future business, or whatever that relationship could maybe bring to your business. But I guess tell me about your first no and what led you there.
I really don't know that I can remember my first, but I do know that I've had instances where you're in a relationship, a business relationship, and you realize that maybe you're constantly missing each other. Like you're misaligned when you communicate, you're just not on the same page about things, and everything feels so difficult. And what I always say to my clients is there are 30,000 agents in Austin, right? Like I'm not for everyone and everyone's not for me, right? And so if I give myself the grace to say like, this is not a great fit for me, I'm probably not a great fit for them either. We're all giving each other the opportunity to go a different direction and like open up a door, right? So I don't know that there's like one specific instance, but I just know that like as I've gotten more savvy in like in my business, but also like older personally, I just feel more comfortable saying no to things, but it's still a work in progress. I would love to hear your no story.
My first no came actually last spring, and especially in new construction, you know, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's so easy, it's new, everything should be perfect, everything is, you know, the inspection should be great, blue tape should be great. I would get so much anxiety before the inspection, before the blue tape, especially before the final walkthrough. Things just weren't done. And I was just tired of apologizing for someone else's, you know, honestly, like someone else's misses. And I realized that this was affecting my brand and my credibility with other agents.
That's such a good point because there is a domino effect to places we should be saying no that we don't, right? You're right. It does impact like how people view you. It is like the product we're marketing, something we said yes to, we have to feel really confident in. But that's scary to do when you're a newer agent, right?
Yeah.
Because so many agents are in this scarcity mindset of, I need that transaction. I need that deal. What if it turns into something else? Or I need that payday. And as soon as you start thinking about that, you go to this really negative place. Your scope is too narrow.
Absolutely. And I definitely had that thought. I think that honesty also says a lot about you as, as an agent, right? When you are saying no, I think it shows the other side, like, okay, this person is confident in what they can and cannot deliver. And I for sure went back and forth like, okay, lost business, lost relationship. What does this mean? But guess what? Like my business grew last year. My mental load, my emotional state was just clear. And
well, you gave yourself so much space in so many ways, right? And you're right. That is when you open yourself to other opportunities. Well, congratulations. That's such a huge milestone.
Thank you. I felt like it was, I was proud of myself because it was a hard no to say, but I feel like 100% it was the right decision for me and my business.
So maybe we could talk about areas that we feel like we could help other people say no.
Yeah,
like,
I think maybe like some red flags.
Yeah, for me, one of them is for agents, if you're being asked to work in an area that you're not familiar, you're doing yourself a disservice, but you're also doing your client a disservice, right? If you're not knowledgeable about an area, or it's going to take you an hour each way to get to that place, and you're not usually in that location, that should be a no. Yeah,
the drive time for sure, I think can really suck it out of you. You know, if you're showing buyers in a location that's an hour away, it makes it hard for you to enjoy that, right? Because you're just taking so much time getting there to and from. I think another red flag for me is just respecting my time. You know, I've had listing appointments that were rescheduled 4 times. You know, I've had sellers want the stars and the moon before even talking about a listing agreement, right? They've said, I'm interviewing 5 agents, but I want you to do a full analysis. I want to see your marketing plan. I want to see all of that. And I understand at the beginning, you want to earn the business. But for me, like, if you're not respecting my time and you know, things happen, but if it's a consistent thing that happens where you're constantly canceling, or, you know, I'm telling you these are the times I'm available and you're just shooting from the hip off times, I feel like that is an indicator of like, okay, this is probably how it's going to be the whole transaction.
Yeah. Another red flag for me is on the selling side. You know, sellers hire us for our professional opinion, and we know what sells a property, right? Condition, price, all of the things. So when I walk through a property and I make recommendations to a seller and they decide they don't want to do any of the things that I've recommended, but they want to list their house for maximum dollar possible.
Yeah, of course.
That's a red flag, right? They're not invested in the process to help get to that end result that you're helping them get to.
And the trust. Like, you know, you have to trust me if you're hiring me. And if that's not there, then it's going to be rocky. One of my red flags, I mean, it's super basic, but I can't tell you how many times it happens, is buyers dragging their feet with getting pre-approvals. I think, you know, I don't know how many times this happened to you, but this has happened to me quite a few times where, you know, they're casually looking and then they're not pre-approved, but then the house, the perfect house. One of my red flags, I mean, it's super basic, but I can't tell you how many times it happens, is buyers dragging their feet with getting pre-approvals.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know how many times this happened to you, but this has happened to me quite a few times where, they're casually looking and then they're not pre-approved, but then the perfect house just happens to fall in their lap one weekend. It's a Saturday, deadline Sunday evening.
Everyone's
and guess what?
scrambling.
Yeah, we don't have
Yeah.
a pre-approval,
Yeah.
right? It not only does it make the process not fun for anybody, but it also, you want clarity on what you can afford,
Right.
what your payments
Right.
are going to look like. So I think it just sets you up for success, and not having that, I think, is a red flag. So something that I definitely push hard on that initial call.
Same. I actually won't take a buyer out without it anymore. I mean, there was a point in my career where I would, because again, scarcity mindset,
Yeah.
didn't want to say no to someone, didn't want to scare them away. But this is, I need to know that my buyer is also invested in the process, because we are working for no pay until they buy something, right? So
Yeah.
it is just important for me to know that they are going to join in the process and be serious about it.
Agreed.
So if you don't learn to say no, the only end result is burnout.
Burnout and maybe some tears.
Lots of tears. Well, you're going to get tears anyway.
I mean, I think burnout for everyone looks so different,
Yeah.
right? And I certainly know what my triggers are, and I know, like, okay, I am reaching that point. And most of it is just my personal life suffers. Like, I think when I don't say no and set clear boundaries, it bleeds too much into my personal life.
Yeah.
And that's when I know, like, okay, I've overextended myself. I've said yes to too much, and I need to redefine those boundaries. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, that's what it looks like, is when
Yeah.
the two worlds collide.
That's such a good point. And the most important boundaries you can protect are your personal life, right? Your family, your kids, whoever it is, it's important to you, because that's the easiest time to give up, to give away, right? But it's the most important time to also protect.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that we as agents struggle with, because we are part of people's life transitions. And to them, this is the biggest thing happening in their lives.
Yeah.
But I think it's sometimes lost on them. I mean, of course, they're not thinking about us. Why would they be? But that we have personal things that we also have to take care of.
Right.
So I think the biggest challenge is unwinding, saying yes, always saying yes. And I think that's something I've been working on the past few years, is just creating more space, creating boundaries, getting better at saying no, feeling that it's safe to do it, right? And it's okay.
And doing it in a tactful way, right? Because
Yeah.
I think there's a way to say no where you're still preserving the possible relationship, or, the situation or the conversation that's happening with another agent, and I think there is a tactful way to say no where you're not feeling bad about it.
Yeah. I actually never use the word.
Oh, interesting. How do you phrase it?
Well, I will just find other ways. So I will provide alternatives, right? It's never a no. It's here's another option.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that other option may be a different person.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
I say no, but I never actually just say the word no.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel good.
Actually, you're right. I think I hardly ever say the word no either. And it's about solving the problem without, at your expense.
Yeah. See, we're already good at it.
Yeah. High five. So I think actually the power of saying no is reframing it, maybe, right? And tactfully setting your boundaries without having to say the word no. And then also maybe offering a solution that makes sense for both sides.
Let's go practice this week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now it's time for the counteroffer. I'm going to be talking about listings that get sent out to agents that say price upon request. How do you feel about that?
Okay, I'm so guilty of that.
You
But
are?
I will tell you why.
Jenny,
I know,
I've never
but
done
there is a strategy behind the madness. So for me, when I have a listing, I want to talk to every single buyer's agent. Like, I want to know, even if you have a remotely interested buyer, and I feel like if I put price upon request, those agents are going to call me. They want to know the price, right? And it's an opportunity for me to not only find out how serious their buyer is or what's the story, but I will then put their name on a list of agents that are potentially interested in this property and just continue to present it to them, check in with them like, hey, has that buyer circled back? So I know it's so annoying, but it's really a way for me to build kind of like a mini database of like interested buyers.
I totally get that. I do. But it is, if you are working with buyers and you are searching for listings, it's so frustrating to not know, like, are we in the ballpark? I mean, maybe people could do a range, right? That it's
that's an idea.
Under $1 million, over 5 million. But to have no price at all, you have no idea. And it just it slows the whole process of like planning a buyer tour and finding select properties that are a match for them.
I guess it's just different perspective of like who is asking for the price and who is not giving it. But I hear that. It is frustrating. It's already hard enough to track down agents and get them actually to respond. And just figuring out that price it can be annoying for sure.
Well, it's not going to change, but
there is a reason for it. And that's my reason.
Yeah.